Good morning, everyone, and welcome today. I am excited to see you all here. First, what I am going to do is just start off with releasing some stress from everybody. We're going to do what I call a fear paralysis release. So you can imagine that I just got your text, Lisa. So just imagine that you're comfortable, make yourself comfortable first of all, but imagine that you're extra comfortable and connected. I'm going to go ahead and send energy into the group field so that any stress that's at your feet at that K1 point is being discharged. Old energy is able to move that's been trapped in your body, in your field. I'm just feeling for that to come into balance. A lot of times when something is shocking to us or stressful to us, we just kind of keep going. And instead of having to keep going, the best thing that we can do is take a moment to stop and ground. But there's nothing like having somebody else help us with that process. So that's what I'm here to do right now. So in the moment if something happens that's shocking, when it's safe and possible to stop and just connect into your senses and the feeling of your feet on the ground, and that's or how you're sitting in the chair or whatever the weight of you, that is a way of helping us to stay in the present, in the now, to stay calm. Very good. That's coming into balance. And taking a deep breath in and letting that go. Alrighty. So the next thing I'm going to do is move on to release any emotion that needs releasing. And this is something I'll show you how to do for yourself, although you will probably notice it's more effective when somebody helps you with it. Partly that's practice, and partly it's just that I've been doing it for so long that I have skills with a Z. So going ahead and imagining again comfort, total peace. And as you strive for that, I'm clearing the things that are blocking that peace for you. This exercise practice for yourself is just using your own fingers like so, with the right hand going a half an inch below your collarbones, the left hand going an inch above your eyebrows, directly above the center of your eyes at the pupil. And you holding that will allow for you to de-stress. It'll allow the kidney energy of fright to be dampened. It will allow just calms the entire kidney meridian when we do that. And it it tells the brain, hey, let's come up here and be in the prefrontal cortex instead of in the limbic system or in the brain stem. Let's be up here and we can just calm, calm, calm. As we all know, our best decisions are not made in the moment when we're stressed. And our two lower areas, the brainstem and the emotional brain, are really good at disguising themselves. They're so good at disguising themselves to seem to be the rational brain. They're kind of like the wolf in sheep's clothing. We think that we're acting directly out of pure intelligence, the highest reasoning capacity, but it's a false friend. And that's why staying in the moment, present and grounded, is our friend. And returning to that when it feels that we've strayed. Being in the now, noticing your senses, will be your biggest help in avoiding getting sucked into that pathway. And that field has come into balance too, so very good. Great, take a deep breath in. Let it go. So welcome to those of you who have joined us since I started. We're just going straight in to do the Bun meditation at this point, and I lost my little sheet, so I'm going back to my big board, my really nice solid board already. So this is a little bit harder to see because of the light glare, but there's an orange line that's coming down from inside the skull and an inch in front of the spinal column and coming up to 3 finger widths below the belly button. This spot is known as the junction. So you'll hear me say, bring the energy and the breath down to the junction, and then hold the breath and bring it back up to whichever chakra along the way. If I don't cue it because, I got to get more practice at this because I just do it for myself. But taking a deep breath in, we're also taking a supplemental secondary breath. And then we're sending the energy down. So doing those 2 breaths will allow us to be able to fully inflate our lungs and activate any of the alveoli in our lungs so that we have the maximum impact on our vagus nerve. And how the Tibetans knew about this thousands of years ago, I don't know, but I'm just pretty darn amazed. So let's go ahead and get into this. So we're going to start up at the top and work our way down. We only do 5 chakras in the secret salon. The inner salon is the other name or term for it, term for it. And as we move through these things, you'll notice, and at least in my case, I notice successive increasing amounts of calm. And the last thing to remember is that this is an opportunity to also develop a tool for your real life. When you're in the moment having an interaction with somebody that's negative, or you're on the road and somebody's doing the road rage thing, go into doing this. And you don't have to take a deep breath when you're in the moment. You just take a tiny breath, like that's plenty. And you just visualize this, and it will help you stay in your rational brain instead of going into the lower centers. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Taking a deep breath in, and a secondary one, sending the energy down to the junction, and then holding the breath, sending the energy up to the crown chakra. You want to release before you feel your heart pounding. It's not good to stress yourselves out, so energy will go up as purple smoke. And then just relax when you're ready. So anybody who's a surfer is going to be able to hold this for a really long time if they did it on their own. Anybody who is very, very anxious, like I was, will not be able to hold their breath very long at all. And so it's not about judging, it's just about knowing that you're taking the breath that's right for you. And your ability to hold your breath will increase over time with this practice. And that's a good thing, because it's been shown in outcomes with COVID patients that people who are able to hold their breath longer are less likely to go into long COVID or severe COVID, I guess you would say. So in this day and age, why not get every advantage we can, right? So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and a secondary one, and then bring that down to the junction, and this time back to the throat chakra, that beautiful sky blue. And whenever you're ready, you can release that 360 degrees all around. Again, tailoring that for your needs, because you might be able to hold your breath really long, and that's totally fine as long as you're not stressing yourself. You're developing the ability of your body to thrive in an anaerobic state briefly, and it's different from always operating completely anaerobic, the aerobic capacity. It's like how the body can use the different types of sugar, or it also has the backup of fat, being able to burn fat, but it will always go to the sugar option if it's only, if we don't force it into the fat option. And it's good to be able to do both. So now we're moving on. Taking a deep breath in, and the secondary one, bringing that down to the junction as you hold your breath. Bring the energy to that heart chakra, that beautiful emerald green color there. And when you're ready, 360 degrees, release all around and green smoke now. Alrighty. Now you really can hardly see this, but it's yellow. That's our solar plexus chakra. Taking a deep breath in, and then a secondary, bringing the energy down to the junction and holding the breath while placing the energy at the solar plexus chakra. And whenever you're ready, before you feel stressed, before you feel your heart pounding, you want to let that go. Very good. Great. And then lastly, we're going to do the first chakra. This time, just as a note, it's the first time that the energy is sent downward in the body. It can be a little disorienting. So just to cue you for that. So taking a deep breath in, and the secondary one, sending the energy down to the junction, and then sending it downward into that first chakra area, the pelvic floor. Holding it as long as it's comfortable, and when you're ready, releasing it straight down into the ground, back to Mother Earth. Great. Alrighty, so that should be making you all feel a whole lot better than when you first walked through the door, my virtual door. And I hope that that this has been a great holiday season, a great start to your new year. But if not, this is a perfect opportunity to sort of wash away the past week and reset for your new year. So I'm going to go ahead and read the group goal. And I do that to activate inner children. I'll explain a little bit more about inner children later. But first, let's get them going. I am healed in body, speech, and mind. I am comfortable in my body. I allow my body and my mind to learn from and let go of old stress and trauma. I am allowed to feel calm. It is safe for me to feel calm and peaceful in my body. I sleep deeply through the night, knowing everything always turns out marvelously well. My negative core beliefs are healed. My relationships are easy and peaceful. I stay calm throughout my day, even when provoked. My higher power supports me fully in this. I deeply love all of my inner children who are stressed and traumatized and who keep me from feeling calm and peaceful. I invite them home to my heart. My parents and siblings want this for me. My extended family and friends want this for me. Society wants this for me. So I'll explain a little bit about what's going on with that, why I've come up with those goal statements. First off, our child mind is what I call our subconscious because it seems a lot friendlier, right? That we all have, pretty much, I think all of us have learned that we need to fear our subconscious, but I disagree. I believe that it's important to learn how to partner with our child mind. And then it's only when we're not partnered with it that trouble happens. I believe that we're born into this world and everything happens to separate us from our child mind. And that's where the problem lies. If it weren't for that initial separation, if we could love all parts of ourselves, if we had emotional regulation taught to us by our parents, and if they attuned to us and explained to us what was happening to us when we felt these incredibly powerful energies moving through us, these energies of emotion, that we would have a union between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So that's what we're trying to go back to. So the child mind, I believe, is really a hero. It's a misunderstood hero. It's trying to save our lives, and it has much more information than we do. So it has the potential for being right. And there's a part of it that is always healed. It's connected to our higher self, and it has the ability to tune into radio higher power. But these parts that are wounded are operating under old rules that were learned when we were, first of all, very young, and we weren't taught directly. We made a lot of assumptions based on nonverbal information. So that might have been part of the issue, that our parents really wanted somewhat better for us than we realized. But also that we no longer exist in a world where our parents determine everything about our lives. They don't determine our survival. The friends that we had when we were little, it doesn't matter if we exceed them anymore. The town that we lived in is not as important to us anymore. Most likely we don't live there anymore. So all of these things, we're still operating under these old routines of those things being the most important things to make sure that we don't exceed what we're allowed to have in this world. And because of that, automatically we're limiting our potential. We have so much more potential than we realize, and this is a way to get to it. So we set a conscious goal, as I mentioned, to activate inner children and to activate then the upper limit problem. This is something that Dr. Gay Hendricks has explained. He's a psychologist, and he talks about there being a zone of comfort. And when you try to push beyond it, we've learned as children that that's where we can get ridiculed by our peers because they feel threatened or less than. It can activate our parents. We could be expressing a part of themselves, like where they weren't allowed to think too much of themselves. And so if they see that we're acting that way, their inner child that learned, oh, you can't do that, comes up to knock us down. Or it could be, activating a teacher. I worked with a client to help her on passing tests. She had test anxiety. And part of what repeatedly came up for her was that she was constantly being told by teachers that she didn't seem very smart. What kind of a teacher does that to a child, right? That's not a good teacher. But they could have been very good teachers for other children. because they weren't being activated by her intelligence, you see, because she was, she's probably going to be like an international lawyer at some point. She's just brilliant. And it's just it's really something to see, she's still at the process where she hasn't passed the bar yet. She's in her early 20s, and that was really something that was active and working against her. So these things become activated by setting the goal of passing the bar. So if we can catch ourselves and say, oh, wait a minute, I see this as a pattern. Nice try, upper limit problem. Or we're the good parents, so we say it kindly and kind of jokingly, but also firmly. Nice try, but we're not doing that anymore. So that stops it in its tracks because it can't operate in the dark. When it's seen, it can't get up to mischief. If we give the child mind what it wants, which is to learn emotional lessons, then it's willing to rewire itself. It literally cannot rewire itself. It has to hold on to all of that emotional information, the neurochemicals that are lodged in the body, until it's allowed to learn. So these sessions are a shortcut to emotional learning. And for each goal we have, there's a specific feeling or feelings that need to be learned for the child mind in order to agree to be rewired and allow change. The child mind is so powerful, it's calling in events over and over into our lives. So if you know anybody who's constantly running into angry people, that's why. The child mind wants to learn anger. If you're constantly broke, it's because the child mind wants to learn the feeling of being broke. If you're constantly having a pity party, it's because your subconscious wants to learn what that feeling feels like. And you might think, but Liz, that's all I ever feel. Come on, what's going on here? Well, you're judging it. You're judging the feeling negatively. That's just the human condition. Who wants the negative feelings? We don't want the negative feelings. We try to push them away. But it's fully experiencing them without judgment that is how our subconscious, our child mind can learn them. And if you're like me, that's incredibly threatening. Oh my gosh, you might be thinking, I have like an ocean's worth of emotions that are stored, and they're all like, if I pull on one tendril, it's like cooking spaghetti where you've forgotten to put in the olive oil, and at the end you've got like this knot of everything stuck together, and when you try to pull on one thing and learn that emotion, everything else wants to come with it. That's what I felt like. And so just even like one little tiny little connection to a feeling was terrifying, because suddenly I had the whole, just the whole spaghetti nightmare coming at me. So yeah, it felt like an avalanche every time I would try to connect, until I found this. And this kind of work I had to grow and expand a lot, because it had a whole lot of emotions. The more trauma we have, the more of a backlog there is. And neurochemicals are inflammatory in quantity, and inflammation can lead to disease. So there's our motivation to do the work, right? And I can tell you that my health has improved incredibly every year since I started doing this work. It's mind-blowing how all of the symptoms that I had of an autoimmune illness are, have fallen away, and my blood work is so much better and all of that kind of stuff. So also the last thing before we get into this is to give your child mind a positive destination. It's a little one. Now you might say your inner child, and I will also say inner children, because each event that led to the development of an all-encompassing inner child can be also spoken of as an inner child in and of itself. And so an event that happened on a particular day, and then an event that happened on a different day, and an event that happened on yet a different day, there's three inner children right there. So it's a normal human survival process that we create these inner children. This is how we cope. It doesn't make us crazy. I was really comforted by a book by a psychiatrist called, I believe, Unraveling the Knot of ADHD and Trauma, or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But he talked about inner children and about the importance of connecting with them and developing a relationship with them. So that's what we're doing in this process as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started for today. And I'm just looking up, getting my phone ready to look up an emotion. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so here we go. Looking it up. Okay, so this one is the feeling like a rogue. As in going rogue. So when these emotions come up, again, remembering that in order for the child mind to allow the rewiring, it's specifically looking for emotions that we haven't allowed ourselves to learn in order to have this rewiring, this change allowed. So we're all women in this call today. When were we ever allowed to feel like a rogue? When were we ever allowed to go rogue? I kind of doubt that any of us have really either if we have experienced it, we were feeling like it wasn't allowed 100%, right? Like we were feeling guilty and we didn't want to like think of ourselves as having the like wanting to experience that, because it would probably mean that we weren't as good as we were supposed to be. Because there's just a lot of society expectations that women have, and we come with I believe, like a bucket list of emotions that the soul is requiring that we learn in this lifetime. And we don't necessarily get there, but the child mind is going to die trying to fulfill the wishes to the end of our lives. It's going to take us into our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, and it's going to be pushing to learn these feelings. And so we can shortcut it in this session and allow this positive goal to be, this layer of it to be learned from and rewired. So let's go ahead, and this is a soul emotion, going ahead and just connecting in to what you feel like either the feeling of being a rogue or going rogue would feel like. You don't have to think of any specific events, just what the sensation is like within the body, and giving your body permission to send you one drop. If it's too much, too threatening for more than that, that's all you have to feel. It gives the body the start of learning. So tell your body, I give you permission to send me one drop of this feeling of going rogue or feeling like a rogue. And then just notice what happens between head to toe. Things like hot and cold, numbness, tingling, pressure, ease, movement, discomfort. All of that is normal. Tugging is something that I notice a lot too. And if in any way this feeling just feels so threatening that you couldn't possibly love yourself if you stepped outside of the Barbie box, just send that love and let your child mind know that you want that learning for it. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Great. Okay, so we have another feeling. Okay, just looking that one up. This one is feeling arrogant. So this is an ancestral feeling. Just again, this is one where um, even if we have arrogance as part of our personality trait, we've usually been given signals by society or friends or something that it's bad. Um, and just realizing that in order to get to the other side of this goal, we're going to need to feel at least one drop of it. So if that feels threatening, again, like you couldn't possibly love yourself if you got in touch with that, just know that, pretty much all of us have had some kind of an experience where we were perceived by our peers most likely as being arrogant. The story comes to mind of my mother the first day of kindergarten that she used to tell about herself. She was an only child, and her mom took her to kindergarten that first day, and she saw all the kids playing. And she saw this one little girl over and over again trying to fit a puzzle piece into the puzzle. And it was obvious from her across the room what the right piece was. And she went ahead and walked over to that kid and interrupted her process, picked the piece up out of her hand, turned it the right direction, slammed it in, and said, "Dummy." Now, I'm sure that that little girl thought my mom was being arrogant, right? And so, how is that for the first day of kindergarten? You go in and you show that you're arrogant, right? Like, how many friends do you think you go home with day one? Probably not many, right? And my mom was an absolute compassionate love. She definitely, and she was the kind of person that knew all of the supermarket clerks and their stories, and always asked about their children by name, and so she definitely came a long way since kindergarten, right? But we've all had our experience with arrogance. And so let's just go ahead and allow that one drop or more. It becomes a spring cleaning for the body if you allow yourself to feel it. And this is an ancestral emotion. So just giving yourself permission, again, noticing from head to toe what's coming up in your body sensation wise. Sending it love if it's too uncomfortable. And just relaxing in a calm abiding if you have had enough and want to tap out. Great. And taking a deep breath in and letting that go. Great. Okay. Okay, so that's it for the emotions today. We're going to move on now to clearing the chakra. Okay, so chakra 7, sending energy in, universal energy. I'm requesting that be sent through my fingers to reset your chakra 7. All of the stress points associated with it. Well, that was easy peasy. Good job, ladies. Alrighty, so next we're going to move on to integrating inner children. So for those of you who haven't done it yet, if that feels unsafe to you, please don't participate. You will, in repeating during this program with me, you will get to the point where you develop a relationship with your inner children where you're comfortable allowing them to integrate. And until then, you're in charge of making sure that you're safe. So for the rest of us, if that's feeling comfortable, we're going to proceed. Just know that if you need any further explanation, that you can go to my 4th oldest group stress video, and it is 49 minutes and 55 seconds long to further help you identify it. And at minute 35 and 21 seconds, you'll find its start, and it's a deeper explanation and a longer, slower process. It also helps you understand what to do if you have inner children that don't want to come home to your heart, and it will help you guide through that. So basically, you'll just watch it and you'll pause the video if you need more time. Okay? So for those of us who are ready, let's go ahead and imagine 5,000 inner children from the ages of birth to the present day in a beautiful, safe place, and that you can walk up to them and say hello. Tell them, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were here all alone. I came as soon as I heard. I'm you, all grown up. We've survived and we've thrived. Your home is in my heart. Come home to my heart. And show them pictures of you between the ages of birth to the present day so they know that you survived. Because time stops when they're created. About a half a dozen pictures. I'll give you a moment. So ask them if they are willing to come home to your heart. If they aren't, then you can just imagine yourself in a beautiful, safe place with them and just being calm and abiding with them and going to do the video on your own later. But for those of us who are ready, go ahead and if they are ready to come home to your heart, tell them to shrink down to points of light. Begin to head home to your heart. Now, you may notice a sense of shimmering or vibration in your body, and that is these little ones getting ready to move. The fascial train allows their release under these circumstances and they begin their journey home. You may even feel them start to enter the walls of your heart. And if you don't worry, it still works. You, as the conscious mind, as that loving, kind parent, welcoming these little ones home to your heart and tucking them in. Great. Now, if you need more time, again, remember to refer to the video. And if not, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And send out a buttery yellow light of self-compassion to every cell in your body. And when you're ready to continue, take another deep breath in. And this time, when you breathe out, send love and compassion to every layer of you that cooperated here today. Great. Alrighty, so I'm going to next work on removing negative energies. So I'll be quiet for a few moments while I do that. Okay, very good. That's complete. And now gratitude. So gratitude to yourself for showing up today. Gratitude to your child mind for working with you today. For your higher power for always being there for you. And gratitude, just remember, confirms that you like the direction that you're going in. So it tells that child mind that you want more of the same. Alrighty, so now we've got Q&A if you're interested. You're also welcome to, if you've got just something to say that you want to tell the group or other people about how it's been, how this helped you or something, that's always helpful for people who watch the recordings later. So you are, let me just make sure that I can unmute you. Okay, so anybody who wants to, I believe, can unmute now.
I'll happily share. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Natalie. Yes, I can.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to share that the day before yesterday, I had an unfortunate reaction or a divine reaction, depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, not the ideal reaction I would have wanted to have with my child as we realized that school was starting the next morning and we were out of town.
Oh,
And instead of giving her the dignity to have a 14-year-old response. Um, I pounded around the room. I started hacking things. I became a child myself.
Mm,
And we left the next morning at 5:55, and we made it to school within 3 minutes of the bell. And what happened last night, for the first time, I've never seen it, is she had what appears to be like one of those textbook anxiety attacks. And it was way
mm,
after the event. Teeth chattering, her legs went wobbly, she turned pale. I wasn't sure first it was something medical.
mm,
And she had another event today. And I just said, what does it feel like in your body if we just took that event off the table?
mm,
And we did. And then she said, I feel better, even though it was a totally fun event, skiing in Big Bear, like totally fun. But her little body, between maybe her mom's reaction the day before, just the news, the not being prepared, all of that.
mm,
And then today's work, because this is the second time I've done it. When I started shrinking down those children and letting them come back to my heart.
mm,
That went way deeper because it not only did it have a current feel, but also um, I could see it. I could see everything more clearly and better. And so this was like, a timely salve that the notification came at 10 a.m. Time to do, therapy, trauma, and PTSD
good.
work. So thank you for being here and making this available.
Yeah, a pleasure. And the ability to observe yourself. Thank you, Yulia. The ability to observe yourself is a gift for you and your child. And the more you practice it, it's a muscle, the more you'll be able to um, access it when events start to go south and catch yourself eventually in the moment. I think of it as these inner children pathways as it's like the itch that can't be resisted at first, and then the more practice that we do with observation, the more eventually we can um, just observe our way into a different reaction. And then the less we go down the pathway, it becomes overgrown, an overgrown weed choked pathway that is back to nature rather than being well traveled with uh, by our negative reactions. And also just remember too that the thing that I do where I'm imagining that first exercise, I think maybe you weren't here at the start this time, but um, if you have your daughter lie down and you stand at her feet and you hold the K1 point, which is it's this part of the foot where um, so here, if these were the toes and this is that ball of the foot, it's just right on the arch side of the ball of the foot in the center. And so you just put your hand like so, so you're covering it for both feet. And you're not imagining taking on her energy and her stress. You're imagining that you're contacting, so she's got her own energy bubble, you've got your own energy bubble, and you're merely contacting the energy bubble, her energy bubble at the boundaries, and that you can send the excess energy down into the center of the earth, and then fresh energy can come back up to her bubble, um, so that the stress and trauma is released. When we're super stressed, we go into fear paralysis, and um, leads, I believe, to just sort of more likelihood that we're going to have those kind of reactions. Um, so good job, Mama.
Thank you. That's amazing. I'm going to try it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's interesting chat. Okay, good to see you, Sabrina. And Joan said goodbye. And um, so I don't know, Yulia, if you wanted to say anything, if you had any questions, or Jane.
I just wanted to say thank you again, Elizabeth. Thank you for creating space. I always feel so calm after, and it allows me to surrender to your energy, the
Mhm.
flow. And it's good practice for me because the default is to um, push, 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 go, go, go. And so I'm kind of learning how to shift out of it through practices like this one.
Good.
Yeah, and then welcoming children back into my heart space
Mm.
and embodiment. It helps me with embodiment too, I think, recognizing sensations in the body little by slowly. So I'm thankful for what you do here. Thank you.
Pleasure. Alrighty, loves. Well, it was fabulous to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you next week or next time you're able to come. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you too. Bye.